Welcome to Max Asian, the channel where we discover together the gems of Asian drama. 2025 was an absolutely incredible year for Netflix, bringing us some of the most moving, intense, and unforgettable stories that will definitely stay in our hearts. Today, I bring you the 10 K-Dramas that dominated Netflix this year. Have you watched them all yet? It's never too late to add them to your list. But before we start the video, it would really help me out if you could take a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your kind support. Number 10. Karma. Imagine 6 complete strangers whose lives become brutally intertwined after a fateful accident that none of them saw coming. An Kyok-nam is an absolutely desperate man, drowning in debt to lenders who threaten him with death, seeing no other way out but to do something terrible. Ju-yeon is a brilliant surgeon carrying a trauma from the past she could never overcome and that now returns to haunt her. And then there's the witness, someone who saw something they definitely shouldn't have seen and is now completely trapped in an increasingly dangerous situation. Here's where it gets interesting. Every decision these characters make drags them deeper into a cycle of revenge, lies, and devastating consequences. Imagine having to carry that weight every day knowing that karma will eventually catch up with you. What would you do if you knew all your actions would have a price? This 6-episode miniseries absolutely doesn't let you breathe, with twists you don't see coming and performances that leave you completely speechless. We'll see how everyone ends up paying the price for their actions in ways they never imagined. Number 9. The Trauma Code. Heroes on Call. Let me introduce you to Dr. Baek Kang-hyuk, an absolutely brilliant trauma surgeon who spent years working in war zones around the world, saving lives in the most extreme conditions you can imagine. Now he returns to Korea with a clear mission: transform a university hospital's trauma center into the best in the country. Here's the problem. The hospital is completely in the red, and the executives don't want to invest a single penny in his team because they don't see the profits. But Kang-hyuk absolutely refuses to give up. Together with young and enthusiastic doctors like Yang Jae-won, who's just discovering his calling, and nurse Cheon Jang-mi, who has nerves of steel, they're going to fight against the corrupt system to save lives during the famous golden hour. Imagine having to constantly choose between following the hospital's absurd rules or saving a patient dying right in front of your eyes. What would you choose in that situation? This is a chaotic, intense, and absolutely addictive story about what it really means to be a white coat hero when the entire system is against you. Number 8. Our Unwritten Soul. What would happen if you could swap lives with someone who seemingly has it all? Yoo Mi-ji is a completely free-spirited girl, a former promising athlete whose sprinter career ended abruptly due to a devastating injury. Now she lives peacefully in her hometown, taking care of her grandmother, with no real plan for the future. Her twin sister Mireille is absolutely the opposite. Perfectionist, seemingly successful, working at a prestigious corporation in Seoul. But here's what's shocking. Miji discovers her sister is suffering workplace harassment so severe and constant that it's completely destroying her inside. So she proposes something that sounds completely crazy: swap identities for a few months so both can breathe. Imagine living someone else's life and discovering it wasn't as perfect as you always thought. With Park Bo-young playing both twins in an absolutely masterful way, creating 2 completely different characters, we'll see how each sister faces the unexpected challenges of the other's world. Along the way, both will rediscover who they really are and what they truly want from life. A deeply moving story about identity and second chances. Number 7. Cashero. This supernatural comedy introduces us to Kang Sang-woong, a completely ordinary civil servant who works at a community center and only dreams of saving enough money to buy a house and marry his lifelong girlfriend. But one day his father bequeaths him something unexpected: real superpowers. Here's where it gets interesting. His strength depends completely on how much cash he has on him at that moment. Every time he uses his powers to help someone, his wallet literally empties. Imagine having to choose between saving a person in danger or being able to pay rent for the month. Together with his girlfriend Min-suk, an absolute numbers genius who calculates every penny, and a rather peculiar lawyer whose power activates only when he drinks alcohol, they're going to face a dangerous criminal organization dedicated to hunting superheroes. Imagine the constant pressure of wanting to be a hero when it literally costs you every penny you have. An absolutely fun story with lots of action that reminds us that sometimes true power isn't in special abilities, but in the decisions we make every day. Number 6. When the phone rings. Baek Sayan is the youngest presidential spokesperson in Korean history, a cold and calculating man who seems to have absolutely everything under control in his public life. His wife Hong Hee-ju is a sign language interpreter, a woman who cannot speak due to a trauma from her childhood. They've been in a completely arranged marriage for 3 years, set up by their families, living as total strangers under the same roof practically without speaking to each other. Here's what's shocking. Hee-ju is kidnapped by someone mysterious, but manages to escape taking a secret phone with her. Then she begins to do something absolutely unexpected. She calls her husband every night pretending to be her own kidnapper, desperately seeking a way to escape this loveless marriage. Imagine the mystery and tension of receiving those nightly calls without knowing the distorted voice on the other end is your own wife. Can these two finally discover the truth about their hidden feelings while facing trauma, corrupt politics, and dark secrets from the past? This romantic thriller is an absolutely addictive, emotional roller coaster that keeps you completely on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Number 5. Resident Playbook. Imagine being completely new to the hardest job in the world, where every decision you make can save or cost a human life. This anticipated spin-off of the beloved hospital playlist takes us to the absolutely chaotic world of 4 first-year residents in the gynecology obstetrics department of Yulye Medical Center. There's Oh Yi-young, a direct and unfiltered doctor who returned to medicine after abandoning her career for mysterious reasons. Nam-kyung is beautiful, but constantly struggles to adapt to the hospital's brutal demands. Jae-il is a former K-pop idol who abandoned fame because he wanted to be taken seriously as a doctor. And Sabi is the most structured and studious of the group, with an impeccable academic record. Here's where it gets interesting. Senior resident Koo Do-won has absolutely no mercy on them and will constantly test them in life or death situations. Imagine the pressure of learning while real lives depend on every move you make. We'll see how, in the midst of hospital chaos, these rookie doctors find peace, mutual understanding, celebrate small victories, and even find love unexpectedly. Number 4. Tastefully Yours. This delicious romantic comedy narrates the explosive clash between 2 completely opposite culinary worlds that couldn't be more different. Han Byung-woo is the ruthless and arrogant heir to a giant gastronomic empire, absolutely obsessed with getting a prestigious Michelin rating by any means necessary, not caring who he has to step on along the way. Mo Yen-ju is a passionate chef from a traditional small town, completely dedicated to the authentic and honest Jeonju cuisine she learned from her family. Here's the real conflict. Byung-woo's cold business ideals violently clash against Ye, Ju's deep love for honest cooking with no shortcuts or tricks. Imagine these 2 opposites forced to work together day after day in the same kitchen. But here's where it gets interesting. Those intense feelings of rivalry slowly begin to transform into something completely different as they spend more time together among pots and pans. We'll see how love can unexpectedly blossom between absolutely delicious dishes and heated arguments. If you love good food and enemies to lovers romance, this series is definitely for you. Number 3. Genie, Make a Wish. What would you do if a magic genie offered to grant you 3 wishes, but then you discovered he's actually the devil himself in disguise? Ka Young is a completely cold and apparently emotionless young woman who has lived her entire life under her grandmother's strict rules due to her dangerous psychopathic tendencies that need to be constantly controlled. One day, by accident, she releases a genie named Iblis, who had been trapped inside an ancient lamp for 1,000 years waiting for this moment. Here's where it gets interesting. This charismatic and mischievous genie actually wants to use Ka Young's 3 wishes to prove once and for all that humans are absolutely corruptible in the face of temptation. Imagine having to resist the devil's constant seductions in person while he does everything possible to make you fall. But as they spend time together, something unexpected happens. Their connection becomes increasingly deep and genuinely complicated. With Kim Woo-bin and Suzy reunited on screen after almost a decade since their last drama together, we'll see if Ka-young can break the cycle of destiny and change her nature. An absolutely magical story full of supernatural romance and completely unexpected twists. Number 2. Bon Appétit, Your Majesty. Let me introduce you to Yeon Ji-young, an absolutely talented Michelin-level French chef who just won a prestigious international cooking competition in Paris, reaching the peak of her career. Imagine being at the top of the culinary world and suddenly, during a mysterious solar eclipse while traveling by plane, waking up 500 years in the past in the middle of Korea's Joseon dynasty. Now, Ji-young has to survive in a completely unknown world cooking for King Lee Hyun, a monarch known in history as the worst tyrant who ever existed, but also recognized as the most demanding and refined palate in the entire kingdom. Here's where it gets interesting. Ji-young must use all her modern culinary skills and creativity to create innovative dishes that conquer this king of absolutely impossible character and explosive temperament. Imagine trying to make bibimbap with gochujang for a 16th century monarch who has never tasted anything similar. While carefully navigating the palace's dangerous politics full of intrigue and enemies, a completely unexpected romantic connection emerges between the chef from the future and the misunderstood tyrant. We'll see if true love can really change the course of history. Number 1. When Life Gives You Tangerines. This moving, epic story takes us to the beautiful and remote island of Jeju in the 60s, where we meet Oh Ae-sun, a rebellious young poet born in absolute poverty who desperately dreams of something bigger than her small town. Yang Won-sik is a boy with a completely noble and loyal heart who falls madly in love with her since he was barely 10 years old and decides to dedicate his entire life to her no matter the obstacles. Imagine a love so powerful it spans complete decades, constantly facing cruel family disapproval, devastating economic hardships, and all the hard blows that life throws at them without mercy. Here's what's most shocking. We'll see their story unfold over 50 complete years, with all the sweet triumphs and heartbreaking tragedies that inevitably implies, with IU and Park Bo-gum delivering absolutely masterful performances that break your heart. This series will make you cry genuine tears, laugh with happiness, and deeply believe in true love. We'll see how love and hope can flourish even in the darkest and most difficult times. It's currently Netflix's most popular K-drama and absolutely deserves the first place on this list. Y eso fue todo por hoy, amigos. Espero que hayas disfrutado este recorrido por los mejores K-dramas de Netflix en 2025. Si ya viste alguno de estos dramas, cuéntame en los comentarios cuál fue tu favorito. Y si todavía no los has visto, ya tienes tu lista completa para maratonear. No olvides darle me gusta al video y suscribirte al canal para más contenido sobre dramas asiáticos. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Cuídense mucho.